All right, so we each picked 3 movies.
So this topic started out inspired. Like the theme was going to be movies that we think are good. Like not just enjoy, but think are good.
Like we genuinely like these movies.
Yeah.
On more than just a level of it's fun to watch or fun to
Yes.
laugh at. It's like we actually like them.
Yeah, but the problem was that it's pretty hard to find movies.
Well, the catch is that we like them, but critically,
Yes.
or just like audience reception would be negative. Like
Yeah,
it would have
so,
like
like,
middling to low scores on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, Metacritic,
Yeah,
things
stuff
like
that got an unfair shake or that we think has value.
This is the episode where we talk about movies that we feel are underrated. You like that one?
I don't know, because I dropped the ball on this one.
He really did.
I chose some pretty bad movies that I thought I could defend, but upon closer inspection could not. And the reason why is because, you know, if you're someone with taste as good as mine, it's really hard to find anything you enjoy that isn't, excellent. Right?
So basically what he's saying is that he's a sheep that follows whatever everybody else likes and says that they like.
Or maybe everybody says that they like the stuff that I say that I like.
Well, that's just the sheep mentality.
So really what I did is a lot of these movies that I ended up with, it's really because, my tastes are so refined that I need a sort of like a handicap. So I need stuff that's really hard to defend. And it's like weight training, It's like because I'm the.
Well, you did pick some movies that seem like they're going to be pretty hard to defend.
Yeah.
First one you picked.
You want to get into it?
Let's just list off the movies, then we'll pick them apart.
You think it's going to be better that way, or you think it's going to be funny if we...
I don't... Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, they're talking about this movie now?
You're
Except for maybe we get to Nacho Libre at the very end.
Yeah, spoilers. We said we'd talk about it, and we're talking about it.
Yeah, we said last week, and we're following up on that, just like that Steve Zahn
Yeah, we're not
episode.
following up on Steve Zahn.
Yeah, Joe is not
Zahn
here
week.
today.
Zahn week was
postponed.
Because we wanted to talk about good movies this week.
Yeah, literally,
remember?
Our mentality was, let's talk about good movies next week instead of... Because we didn't want a third week of just talking about trash, and now it's like, oh, we want to talk about something good.
It ended up being...
And
it's
then
going to be 4 weeks of trash
well,
now.
what if we talk about movies that everybody else thinks are trash? And that backfired a bit.
Yeah,
but here we go. Our first movie is Hollow Man. Ben, you picked it.
I picked Hollow Man. What year did this come out? 1998?
2000.
Okay. You can tell because Kevin Bacon wears a leather trench coat.
Oh, yeah. He wears a leather trench coat throughout that entire movie.
Because every movie made between 1998 and like 2003...
Well, yeah, dude. It had to look cool.
Has a leather trench coat.
Yeah.
Without fail.
They're slick and they're stylish.
They're stylish.
And
they
have
the
an
future.
edge. If you
Neo.
Yes. It is essentially the Matrix outfit.
But so it's directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Director of RoboCop, Starship Troopers, and Total Recall. Those
all
are
of
the
which
most
are
well-known ones.
Not only have cult followings to this day, but are also well regarded by history.
I would say Starship Troopers was mixed upon release, but over time has developed a
Starship
cult
Troopers
following.
is actually like an essential movie.
No, it's not. But that's not what this episode's about.
Can it be? Can that be one of mine? Can I replace? Can I replace one of mine?
What would you replace? Because I watch these movies. I haven't seen Starship Troopers since high school.
Starship Troopers is, again, I mean, as with all like of that era of sci-fi, like it's not perfect in its execution, but the ideas it presents are like really essential. Where it's like,
I like all the propaganda videos.
Exactly. It's like this
all
is the
satire's
movie
good.
that like a fascist future space soldier society like creates. Like this is their action movie. Like it's.
That's true. Like I get it, but like I also don't like the movie that much. It's also hate.
I'm just gonna say that
actors.
that's something I can recommend with very few qualms is watch Starship Troopers.
Really, I don't know if I could recommend that movie.
And I think you'll see it was so influential. Like you'll be like, oh, this reminds me of like 100 movies because so much stuff is based on that aesthetic. Like that aesthetic of like ragtag soldiers, but it's in the future.
True. Like Firefly.
Like
I watch Firefly and I see Starship Troopers.
Anything where there's a guy in space and he opens up a locker and there's like a picture of his wife is in the locker, and it's like these are, Aliens, for example, like anything where it's kind of a grungy.
Yeah, he's not on his home planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything where somebody has a southern accent in space,
Ooh, yeah.
for example.
That's true. That is a thing. That's a big thing.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Danny
Wow.
McBride in that other Alien movie.
Covenant. The
Idris
fifth
Elba
or
in
seventh
that
installment.
other Alien movie.
Ooh. Wait, was that Prometheus?
Yeah.
Oh my. Those are in the same universe. Anyway,
I like Prometheus.
I like Prometheus too.
I should have.
No, we talked about this. That movie's well received. Like
That's even
critically,
weirder.
when it came out, it was well received, and audiences didn't really like it. And I think over time, like
It soured.
it really
I think you're
soured with
right,
people.
yeah.
And I would agree with that. When I saw it at first, I loved it, and I
Yeah.
watched it again like before Alien Covenant. I was like, not as good as I remember it being.
I like the first third of it. Hashtag Damon
Yeah,
Lindelof.
Damon Lindelof has great first thirds of things.
He kills it in the first third.
The endings, though, he does not.
Yeah,
kill it.
sell before the
Yeah, he's a
before
great
the,
salesman.
before the the midpoint. Be sure to sell.
For anybody who's not familiar with Damon Lindelof, he made Lost and Prometheus.
He co-wrote
and
Lost.
What else did he write? Oh yeah, he didn't make them, but he wrote them.
Um,
He's an idea guy.
yeah,
he's the
yeah.
guy you get cool ideas
The
from.
Leftovers. HBO's The Leftovers.
Oh, he's behind that.
Yeah, which I really liked.
Because it hasn't ended yet.
no, it's ended.
Oh, it ended.
Yeah.
Did he write the ending?
Yeah,
Was it interesting?
not as interesting as the start.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, he's really good at setting up like mysteries and like really good like hooks where you're
But he's
like,
bad
wait,
at resolving
what?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when they find the hatch in Lost. Like stuff like that where you're like, what?
Oh, like the bunker where the
Yeah,
guy's
yeah.
doing the
Those like
numbers.
those big like he drops those like game changers at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes of Lost, and
I actually haven't seen Lost.
I was years behind, so I just didn't bother.
I haven't seen Lost, but if I was of the age to watch that when it was coming out, I would have been like the biggest Lost head.
Yeah, I know. I figured you were before you
No,
just said you
I'm
haven't
not.
seen
I
it.
actually haven't seen it.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so let's talk about the movie we plan on
Hollow
talking
Man,
about.
yeah. So I think the thing that it shares with the other Verhoeven movies is it's this combination of sort of camp, and a campy, almost goofy, sort of like Silver Age sci-fi premise.
I don't think you can use the word goofy to describe this movie.
I would not, but I would say that the premise is.
I don't even know if I'd say that. It's based off of H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man.
Yes.
Which is like...
Loosely based.
Well, yeah, it's about a guy who can turn invisible.
Yeah.
And which is pretty much all there is to that story, I guess. The Invisible Man.
Yeah,
H.G.
yeah.
Wells.
But
I
it's
don't
a
know.
piece of speculative fiction.
Yeah, this one's like loosely based because then it's like, well, what would man do with that?
Yeah, but I think what it shares with his other movies is it takes this sort of sci-fi, like again, and H.G. Wells is very much like that Silver Age of sci-fi premise, and then throws in kind of a level of unexpected, like pulp.
Yeah.
Like RoboCop, obviously, it's like a robot, like
Yeah.
your move, creep. Like he's like,
I
it's
get
like
what
kind
you're
of goofy,
saying.
but it's also like an incredibly violent movie.
There was never like a moment during Hollow Man where I was like, oh man, this is goofy. I mean,
No,
there were
it's
some
not
parts that
goofy.
were a bit like witty.
It's not goofy, but the premise is campy. It's a guy who turns invisible. Like that's
Okay.
there's it's not intentionally goofy in a lot of places, but it is like
Yeah.
when they're going down the hallway with the goggles.
Oh god, the goggles made me so
Brolin and Kevin Bacon,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, $5 says I can shoot this gorilla first. And it's
Yeah.
like, what scientists are these?
That's true. I didn't think of that stuff.
um,
There's that one
Thanos
line-
is in this,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love Josh Brolin, but
He's a handsome man.
He is not given much to do in this movie.
I don't think he's aged very much at all. Although I guess it's
I
only
would
been
say
like,
he
it's
look-
been like 20 years.
I'm not gonna lie. He looks different. His face looks shorter. His
He's-
face looks like a lot longer.
He's
back in
hot,
his-
but he's like a hot dad now.
yeah, he's got those wrinkles, and they
Real men
complement-
have
yeah,
wrinkles.
he looks like a
Hashtag
man.
real men
who's-
have wrinkles.
Who's worked. He looks like he's been through it all.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a real
Here-
man's man.
Yeah.
I think no. There was.
You're
I once
back
heard,
with the Josh Brolin hour, by the way.
No, there was an interview with Paul Thomas Anderson where he just gushes over Josh Brolin's.
Yo, we don't
manliness.
talk about good movies here.
Oh, that's true. We don't talk about.
we don't
Josh
talk about
Brolin.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
That's
Leave
true.
that for every
the
other
VT
person our
Film
age
Essentials
who
right
has
before
a
us.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
So, Hollow Man is the movie about the guy who turns invisible. Josh
Were you
Brolin's in it.
surprised by how violent it got?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was surprised with how creepy it got.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's the opening scene.
The opening, which is already like, but you can't tell if it's supposed to be sympathetic or not because movies just used to be so creepy.
So, like, there's the opening scene. I don't know if it's the opening scene. It's one of them. Kevin Bacon's in his room, and he's like in a city, and across the way.
This is the opening scene. This is the first scene of the movie.
Like, this is my first note. I just wrote, Kevin Bacon is a perv. He says, damn it, when a girl closes the blinds while getting undressed.
It's a really funny delivery, too.
Yeah,
like,
he
not intentionally funny,
Yeah,
but she just closes the blinds. He's like, damn it.
Yeah,
and
he
then,
just stands there
like, the
straight-faced,
scene
damn
and
it.
plot continue. But, I mean...
Because the thing is, when I saw that, I was like, man, is he going to be like a creep in this movie? And he 100% is.
Oh, yeah, he's a real... Which I think is...
It's interesting, but
I think it's scary, man.
it is very scary.
Because here's the thing, in terms of the pitch, like if you're pitching this movie, if you're saying, okay, a dude turns invisible, what's kind of the scariest type of person that could turn invisible?
A rapist.
Oh, I was going to say a guy with like chainsaw hands.
Oh. No, in the movie it turns out to be a rapist.
Yes, no, of course. Yeah, like a creep. Like that's like I feel like that's
that's true.
The most
Like a
viscerally
creep would be
upsetting.
the most upsetting person to become invisible.
Yeah, and I so I think that there is. I think that that's a little bit of a. I don't know about inspired, but
Here's the thing, though. I wish they had made the main character somebody else. I wish it had been Josh Brolin or Elizabeth Shue is her name.
instead of it following.
Instead of it following
What
him.
Sebastian is his name?
Is that his name?
It's one
I
of
think it
those
is
like
Sebastian.
like
Sebastian Kane.
Yeah, it's one of those like names that no one has, but like, because the other thing is that it was hard for a while. I think, and I think that this is actually to the movie's credit. It's hard to tell if he's a deeply unlikable, like just awful dude, or if he's just sort of the like hot-headed jerk, but he is the protagonist.
That's the thing. I thought it was going to be that the whole time, and then like the scene of him like undressing the girl's top and like touching her while she's like asleep.
But then you're like,
And
oh
then-
no, this is I'm like revolted by this person.
Yeah, I was just like, oh no, like I really hate this person. 'Cause
Yeah.
he had like a line earlier in the movie when he's like about to do the experiment to being invisible, and he goes, "If I die, tell him I said something clever or wise or whatever."
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh, that was a funny line. Like I wrote that down on my phone because I was like, oh, there's a bit of wit to this movie.
But when you see him, he like cracks a code and he's like, you know how it is, like a coffee and Twinkies.
Yeah.
Like that's the secret. You're like, oh, like I hate this guy, but he's the protagonist. He's just like that sort of like annoying
Yeah,
protagonist. But no, he
He's,
actually
like,
turns out to
super
be
cocky,
a very bad
yeah.
person,
He
which I
turns out
think
to be,
is
like, a
actually
horrible human.
I don't know. I thought that it was interesting to follow him because you sort of look at that and you see this behavior and you sort of like expect it to be like redeemed usually, I guess, when you see like this cocksure, like
Yeah.
he's like, haha, I am God. Haven't I told you that? Or like whatever. What's his name is in this? What's that guy's name? Like Greg Grumble?
Greg Grumble. Hold on, let me find.
He's in all the J.J. Abrams
Oh,
movies.
Greg Grunberg.
Okay, I was very close.
Yeah, no, it's the heroes guy.
When I saw him, I was very surprised.
Yeah, who was he in this movie? I
Wait,
don't
is he in
remember.
Lost?
No.
Okay. He's one of the scientists.
Okay.
I don't know.
This
I
is
saw
very
him in-
much like just one of those faces.
Yeah,
in
he's
movies
in
who's got a
like the
face.
joke is he's in every J.J. Abrams thing. He's in like the J.J. Star Wars.
Yeah, he is in that. Apparently. One thing I'd say about this movie is that it's definitely like concept is better than the execution.
Oh yeah.
I really liked the idea of like what happens if a total creep becomes an invisible person, because then it's like, oh, I would like to see how that plays out. But then it's just like it's way too drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
You already get the point really early on,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of gets redundant. Also, like the scene right after he does like the really bad thing, he then like kills a dog, and it's like, I don't like it when people kill dogs in movies, and like usually that's like the first thing in a horror movie, like the ghost will kill the dog, or
Yeah.
whatever, and the dog will be dead, and you're like, oh, this is serious, the dog's dead. In this one, it's like you felt like you had just watched like the worst you could do, and then he kills a
And
dog,
then it like
and
it,
it's
it
like
weirdly like de-escalates.
yeah, like it does the stakes.
It's like
just,
now
like,
it's just
lower.
petty.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, I don't want to see a dog die, like that's horrible, but it's not as bad as what
But
he just
the
did.
crucial moment of badness just happened.
Yeah, it's like literally right after that, and it makes
Did you
no
like
sense.
the joke
No.
early on?
No, I didn't like any of the jokes.
Where he talks about the joke about Superman and Wonder Woman.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
I think that's
No, you don't.
no, I not funny, but I think that the scene is like good. Like it's very
That's
much like
true.
like you know it's,
Everybody
it's,
else is like, that's not funny.
Yeah, it's this piece of like side dialogue which I just generally like when people are like, so have you heard the one about the like
Yeah.
that kind of thing? People like
Just
that.
like quick little jabs.
And like it's this long drawn out like unfunny joke, ends with like a weirdly not okay punchline.
yeah, like a very unokay and
Like
very not funny
like a
punchline.
crude punchline. Everybody around him is like, dude, what? And also it's like kind of a little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah, that is foreshadowing, totally, because it's like he makes everybody uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
a creep.
Yeah.
And what was the punchline of his joke? Like, oh,
We can't. I don't think it's something we can say on air.
Okay. Involves invisibility.
He's like,
like you get it.
Yeah. It's a very stupid joke, but I think it's a great scene, and it I think that it is kind of the contrast of like this sort of like, I don't know, all these like he's like very cocksure and it's very like almost quasi campy, and then it takes a turn to like very dark.
Yeah, that's true. The turn to darkness, while it wasn't unexpected, it was sudden. It was like very abrupt. Like, nope, he's doing horrible things now.
Yeah, and also like a level of of realness and a level of violence that I did not expect.
That's something I appreciated. The one thing I really just visually standing, what I appreciate were those transformation scenes.
They were not bad.
Like watching the monkey
gorilla?
or the gorilla become not invisible.
That
or
was
vice
pretty good,
versa.
right?
Those are the most effective scenes, just because like you're watching.
There's
like,
the part where the
something
gorilla
that doesn't
starts
exist.
like goes into cardiac arrest and they have to do the shock pads.
yeah.
And whenever they shock
Oh,
the
right,
gorilla,
yeah.
it like appears.
Yeah.
And
That was cool.
I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the CG is so dated.
It's
Like,
very dated.
especially when you don't know, or at least I didn't know it was a gorilla yet, and
Yeah.
all you see are like these bloody, invisible,
Uh-huh.
like horribly CGI teeth, and I'm like, oh, is this like a monster? Is this like an invisible monster movie?
Yeah.
And it's just nope, it's a gorilla, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Because they test the invisibility
Yeah.
serum on the gorilla, and then they like chase it through the hall with like
That's
these
like the
goggles.
first half hour of the movie.
Yeah,
It's just like that
yeah.
gorilla.
And then they get it back in the cage, and because Kevin Bacon's just like a weird jerk,
He's just like,
and then we'll kill it later.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna kill it, and then I'm gonna do it, and then everybody's like, no, you
Oh,
don't
you.
do this yet, and then he's just like, nah, science, I'm science, I gotta do this.
But no, okay. Here's the other thing that I was honing in on is I think that it actually does have a cool undercurrent of, and I think that this is written into it. I don't think that this is just incidental.
Okay, this isn't something that you made up on your
No,
own. You think
creepy man in science, that approaches control in terms of other people, especially like women.
Yeah.
As the same way that he approaches control of science and the natural order.
Okay,
right?
I see it.
And that's like a through line that's like way throughout history where people are
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's a
true.
lot of men doing science and
Yeah.
being very creepy about it.
Yep.
And very much like, I can do whatever I want.
I'm a scientist.
And like also the fact that he's like a jerk. He's like so arrogant.
yeah, arrogant.
I don't know. I think that is an unintended thing.
No, it definitely is. You're not wrong on that one. I see that.
It's not yeah.
This movie's like it's not well executed though.
No.
It's
I
like
mean, no.
yeah, like the dialogue
But they're good
isn't
ideas.
great.
I think that they're good ideas.
There's good ideas, good concepts, bad execution. I thought there was something really annoying throughout the movie is that the way they see whoever's invisible is they have like thermal goggles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this seems like a really essential thing to have throughout this entire movie, especially when Kevin Bacon's on the loose. And like the whole time they're not using the goggles. Like they have them and then they'll just take them off, or they'll have them in their hand and not be using them. And I'm like, if you're going to like find an invisible gorilla or an invisible Kevin Bacon, I would have. This is not meant to be that
two
funny.
main categories of invisible things encountered, both in this movie and in general.
it was baffling to me that they would take off the goggles or just like not have them on all the time.
I guarantee the reason for that is because if it's just you're looking through the goggles the whole time, then you can't do visually interesting stuff.
I know it's probably like, oh, if they could see him right now, we can't have this thing happen later. Like, I get plot wise. It just makes me have to suspend my disbelief further to the point where like I'm like, oh, this is like
Man
something
movie.
Not realistic. Like the Invisible Man, it's not the fact that it's Invisible Man. It's just like things that the characters would do. It's just like, I feel like you would have those goggles on.
Yeah.
Like that's just.
No, I mean,
that's
no
not even
question.
like a character decision where I'm like, okay, I can see that going one way or the other. I'm not gonna
like you
take
could,
down the movie for that.
Yeah.
This is something where I'm like, that's like a basic thing that I feel like should
instantly
at least be like break the goggles.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
want them out of
exactly.
the movie, you know.
Yeah, like that's an instant right around that you just did. Or I was thinking, Kevin Bacon knows they have the goggles, so he sabotages them, or so he rigs something. Who knows? Like
that, but it's
the fact that we just thought of these things.
Yeah, it's like they didn't even bother to be like, oh, we're not gonna use the goggles right now because it was just they're not using the goggles.
I think Kevin Bacon plays a pretty good bad guy.
Yeah.
He's in
Kevin Bacon's a skeevy dude.
When he's in X-Men.
Who is he in X-Men?
X-Men First Class. He's
Oh, he's in that one. You're right.
He is the Nazi / Cold War yacht man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in that movie.
It's a great movie.
Oh, he plays like the same character in kind of a lot of movies. Like, you ever seen the movie Super with Rainn Wilson?
Yeah, that's
that's James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn.
He in that movie he just plays like a mobster kind of, but he just sort of plays himself.
Man having a normal time right now, James Gunn.
Let's not bring up James Gunn. That was a good segue into our next movie that we talked about.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, so this Guardians of the Galaxy is hated by a lot of people.
Yeah. I actually liked it though.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, not bad.
Yeah.
All right, we're kidding. That probably not get translated very well over the air. Our next. Do you have anything left to say about Hollow Man?
The more I talk about it, the more I think that there's good stuff in there.
The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, hey, yeah, there is good stuff in there. But when I watched it, that's not what I thought.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't come across.
If I didn't talk to you about this, I probably would have felt the same way.
Could we? I mean, I feel like there's something to be said for that being the strength of.
Oh, also,
that's the idea of
Josh
what we're doing.
Brolin gets shot a bunch at the end, and then is just like up and walking.
Yeah.
Like there's like a scene where it's like he's gonna die, so leave him behind, and then he just comes back and is like totally fine.
Can I just want to reference the scene again in the first like 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just Kevin Bacon's just driving to work in a convertible, and it's blasting like new metal, like rap rock,
like
from
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, it wasn't Limp Bizkit, but it's something like
something
that,
like
and
that.
it's just like so dated.
I
Because he's
love
wearing
that.
this leather duster.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god.
It's what cool was
Absolutely.
back in the day.
And I'm like, this is
the movie is
awesome.
very much of its time.
Yeah.
That is something we can definitely say about it.
I almost wish it were made in like the 80s.
Yeah, if it were just like a tad bit older.
Because like that, I feel like, or maybe it's just because we're so close to like the early 2000s that it doesn't, like the aesthetics of the time just kind I wince at instead of feeling like any sort of nostalgia. Oh, it's an aesthetic, it's a retro.
Yeah, so I think that's about it.
It's the most real movie I chose.
That's true. The other movies you chose are very much not real. Also not good movies. I wouldn't say Hollow Man's good. I'm not saying Hollow Man's a good movie, but it is the best of the three you chose.
Do you think it's better now than before we started recording?
Yeah, maybe a little.
All right, that's 1 point for me.
Oh, is this a game now? Okay. So that was the first movie you chose. The first movie I chose was 9, just the numeral 9.
Hey, you guys see this movie? Talking to the listeners. You guys see this movie?
Text 84526. Hit yes or no now.
Yeah. You guys seen 9? It was like these sad puppet men.
Little puppet sack things.
Yeah, it's like an animated movie, but for boys.
It's for adults. It's rated PG-13.
I remember seeing trailers for this and being excited to see it.
Yeah, same.
I went to see it in theaters. You You said you saw it in theaters, right?
I saw this for my birthday because my birthday is the 11th. Because this movie came out 9/9/9, like September 9th, 2009. So I saw it 2 days later for my birthday because then my birthday was that Friday.
Uh-huh.
And
What year was this?
2009. Because
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
You just said I was.
Keep up.
I was trying to think. The gears were turning for a joke.
this
but-
was 9 years ago.
okay.
This was 9 years ago.
Whoa.
For the movie 9.
Yeah, we're celebrating 9 Day. You think 9 is trending on Twitter?
All right. Anyway, #9. #industry. So this movie came out then. It's got Elijah Wood. It's got John C. Reilly. It's got Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
Who else does it have? I think that's pretty much. Oh, Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, and Crispin Glover. What? Oh, now we're doing more research. Nope, that's it. So yeah,
9 is
it's like real green and gray.
it's an aesthetic. I want to say it's almost Tim Burton-y.
Tim Burton produced it.
Okay, well,
There it is. There's your answer.
it's kind of this like
It's directed by a guy who's done like pretty much nothing else. He
It's
made the
got-
short film and then
it's
like,
got this kind
some
of like
stuff.
sad
Yes.
vibe aesthetic.
Yeah, the just visually it is sad and
Post-
like downer.
Post-apocalyptic or,
Yes,
or
very
or-
post-apocalyptic.
yeah.
Didn't you watch this movie this week?
Yes.
Then you
I
would
don't
it's
know if you want to describe it
post-apocalyptic.
as post-apocalyptic or like steampunk.
It's post-apocalyptic steampunk.
It is too many things.
That is what it is, though.
Yeah, but that's
because-
aesthetically too much.
because it is steampunk, and then the apocalypse happens.
That's too much. It's too weird.
It's a very specific niche genre.
And they're like different numbered.
Yeah, they all have different numbers on
Sacks.
them because the scientist made them before he died. The best part about this movie is easily the tone and the visuals.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Looks very cool. The action in it is fun. The designs of each number person, like each little sack guy, they're cool. And then the robot, they have to like fight robots the whole time.
Because it's
essentially.
not in a style that is still like it's visually a different style than a lot of other animated stuff. It doesn't
Yeah.
age poorly, I don't think.
It aged. It doesn't. A lot of the scenes, I felt like I was watching a video game cutscene.
I think that's how it felt when it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Then maybe I didn't play enough video games back in 2009. But yeah,
I think BioShock.
I was reminded of BioShock while watching
Well,
this.
BioShock dropped either that year or the year before. I remember because I
alright.
was playing BioShock, and then I went to the movie theater with my friends to see 9.
That's how it happened? In that order?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
What do you mean?
Okay. Anyway.
Wait, why?
Because you were like, oh, may it come out the next year.
No, I think, I'm just remembering this, and I remember the movie, was fine.
Yeah, I would say the worst part about it.
9, more like fine.
This movie's met with like pretty mixed reviews, like very middling. Like nobody's saying it's bad, but nobody's saying it's great. I would say I would put on the good end of things. The plot is probably where people get really held up, just because it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have to go save this person. Oh, we have to stop the robots. Oh, we found out our origin, and that's gonna help us stop the robots.
For me, that's the thing is that the plot is so simplistic, makes it hard to recommend. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There's
like,
just not much.
You have to be
there.
into the style and like, yeah, pretty much like the tone and style and aesthetic of the whole thing to like really recommend this movie to somebody. You have to be knowing who you're recommending it to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend this to most people, but to people who like animated movies and are looking for like maybe a more dark animated movie, this could be that, because this movie, I know the director Shane Acker was like, there aren't enough dark animated movies for like adults, because like this is
not for adults. This is for.
it's okay for kids.
We
to
were, like,
see, but like
13.
no little kid's gonna like this movie. Like this movie is it's gonna be boring or scary for like a little kid.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we saw when we were like in middle school, high school. That's fine. I'm talking
Middle
like
school, I think. Yeah.
I'm talking about like kids movie type stuff.
Yeah.
Because like
yeah.
most anime movies are like targeted towards like
Sure, and I
10-year-olds
also think that
or
there's
younger.
something to be said for having a little bit of a scarier
Yeah.
thing out there for kids.
In the movie, there's like a snake, like a cobra snake with like a baby doll head in like the cocoon
Yeah.
of it, and that thing is still.
I just mean
scary.
when you're like of that age, like you want to be a little scared by something. You know what I mean? Like
It's PG-13 horror. It's like the perfect like
Yeah.
Gremlins like
Yeah.
horror movie for kids that like
there needs to be more horror for kids, like straight up.
Like that sounds messed up, but like we're talking like
Stuff
that's like dialed back.
Yeah.
It's just more creepy.
It's built to
Yeah.
scare you just the right amount because like when you're a kid, you want to like test your own like boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, that there's a movie that came out a couple years ago that I love. That
Goosebumps.
I
Jack
feel
Black.
like could have been. I should have chose this movie for Krampus.
Krampus. That's the
2015.
What's his
Adam
name?
Scott.
Adam Scott,
Yeah.
yeah.
I should have picked this movie. This movie's got middling reviews.
Krampus?
Yeah, it's you know what it's about. It's about Krampus.
about Krampus.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. It is like PG-13 movie for like, but it's like
I
horror
haven't
movie
seen
for
it. I just
kids.
saw it as a Christmas horror movie, and I'm like,
It's way better than you think.
okay,
I genuinely love this movie.
should have picked it then. I should have picked it to replace one of my
I
movies.
yeah, I didn't realize how middling the reviews were.
Because otherwise you would have gone for it.
Yeah, because otherwise I would have just kept.
Where were you
assuming
trying
everybody
to?
loved it.
Where was 9 rated?
9 is it's got a 57 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 60 on Metacritic.
What did Hollow Man have?
Hollow Man. Close that tab.
Secret Gem.
Hollow Man had like a 27 on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.7 on IMDb, and a 24 on Metacritic.
Mm-hmm.
Those are bad reviews. That is
it depends who you ask.
if you ask those 27% people,
yeah.
they're gonna.
Do you have any positive reviews for?
Do I have to pull this back up again?
Can we check out some good reviews of like?
Yeah, we're gonna read you some reviews from other people.
But like things that rate.
Whoa, hold on. 82% of Google users liked Hollow Man.
Okay.
That's the demographic we're talking
Google
to today.
users. Let's go.
All right, I'll read you just the 3.
None of them are in English.
I'll read you the 3 critic reviews that pop up on Google.
Okay.
This one's from The Empire. An entertainment, it's totally transparent, but trashily dazzling. Trashily dazzling. Is that what you use to describe Hollow Man?
Yeah.
It's not dazzling.
That's actually in my notes. It says trashily dazzling.
This disappointing thriller was directed by Paul Verhoeven, the Dutch-born filmmaker with a reputation of strong violence and sexuality.
I said that.
Yeah, those are true facts. It is a disappointing thriller.
Yeah, he is Dutch.
This review doesn't seem fair. This review, it just said, has director Paul Verhoeven ever made a movie that wasn't slathered with the F word?
Ew.
What? That's funny, but that's not a real criticism of the movie, guy. Back to 9.
Yeah, back to 9.
There's a ton to talk about here. After I watched it, I realized that. I was like,
Yeah, the vibe that it always gave me when I thought about it is that it felt like whenever I said this exactly to you, but you know I thought it was good.
Say it to the people.
It feels like when a new video game console comes out and there's like a couple games that it launches with that like there's nothing there, but like they've got a good like look and a good style because they're like, check out what we can do with the tech now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like The Order 1886.
Or like Knack.
Ooh, but Knack's a good game.
That's
not true.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So onto the second movie you picked.
Yeah.
This one's probably the most well-known out of all the movies because
it's a little independent film
made by
my man named
Lucas.
George. My friend George.
All right, so this is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the last of the prequels.
Again, I don't like bad things.
Defend your case.
I don't like bad things, and therefore I must handicap myself because, you know, this is my... you know, I'm Alan Dershowitz, and I've chosen to defend OJ because I'm the greatest legal mind of the century. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you
need to help somebody.
This is my
get away with
intellectual
something.
challenge.
Get to the point.
This movie's great.
Shut up. You can't say that. All right, so this
What if I just denied it? What if I just like the way I went into this was
you were just
I
like
was just
so
like, no,
dense
it's good,
and
you're like, I
thick-headed?
know that you're not honest. I can't prove it, but I know you're lying.
So this movie follows suit with like the prequels. I'm assuming
all fine films in their own right.
I will assume that every listener here knows what the
prequels of what
are.
series of movies
Of the Star Wars.
The Star Wars films?
Wars movies. These are the ones that George Lucas decided to write and direct all of them himself.
Yeah.
This is the darkest chapter in the trilogy.
Final chapter.
The final, but the
The
darkest.
Dark Night of the Soul.
Yeah, this is the Dark Knight of the Star Wars movies. Yeah, so this movie came out in 2005.
Saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I also saw it in theaters. I loved it when I was a kid.
Loved it when I was a kid.
I remember when I was a little kid, this movie made me think, like, the main character can be the bad guy. And I was like, what if there are movies where the main character turns evil? And I was like, oh, that's got to be the most interesting kind of movie. Because there are no movies like that.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I was
think
like...
you'd love Hollow Man.
This... Oh, no. Because, like, 8-year-old me was blown...
Did you not know
me
that
was blown
Anakin
away.
became Darth Vader when you went into that movie?
I think I knew, but I just, like, didn't think about it much. I was a little kid. I was 7 years old. I remember when I first saw Star Wars, my mom ruined Empire Strikes Back as I was watching
Dude, I
it.
called that twist, by the way.
Shut up. I remember
Have I told you about that?
I was watching the movie, and my mom walks up, and she's like, oh, is this Star Wars with Empire Strikes Back? I'm like, yeah. Because, like, I had just seen the first one. I loved it. And then she was like, this is the one where it's like, Luke, I am your father. And I was like,
You're like,
what?
Mom?
I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, Darth Vader is Luke's dad. And I was like, really? And then I watched the movie. I was like, whoa. And at the time, that didn't upset
I love
me.
whenever anybody references that twist, just saying, like, dude, I so called that.
Dude, I saw that coming a mile
Like,
away.
it's like, one, how
like-
old are you?
If you watch any other movie or TV outside of Star Wars, you will know that
Yeah,
that he is
yeah,
the dad because
yeah.
it's referenced everywhere,
Yeah,
all over
it's
the
like
place.
in the collective unconscious.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like universally known
Yeah,
that is what happens in that.
But so this movie was, I mean, great. No, but
Dude.
I think it works as a as the ending, capping off the prequels and transitioning them into because we're like, how do we get
transitioning
from,
them into Rogue One.
Yeah, how do we get from these prequels to the stories we know? And I think it does that fairly completely. I think it has a lot of drama in it. I'm honest. I'm being real right now.
That's
I think
true.
it has a lot of drama in
It does
it.
have a lot of drama.
Some would say too much.
I wouldn't say too much. I would say it has the right amount, especially after Attack of the Clones, when the whole thing is drama.
Yeah. It has a lot of drama in it. It has
lot of
cinematic moments.
Excessive action scenes.
It does have
and
that.
choreography.
It has a lot of locations.
Vistas.
Yeah,
it's got
it has,
vistas.
No, but it has a lot of cool places. And I don't think it feels like too much.
I am going to have to disagree with you there. It's a prequel. It is objectively
It is,
too much.
too far in
and
a
that's
few
not
places.
me just being like, it has to be this way because it's a prequel. I watched it again this morning, and I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, this is a lot of people on green screens. This is a lot of
dense.
CG. Every frame is incredibly dense.
Every frame is a painting.
Yeah, there's 1,000 million words with every frame of this movie. Every frame is so dense. That's a quote from one of the producers.
This is a really.
making the
I think
movie.
we've referenced this video now twice.
Yeah, there's a making of
It's really good.
the Phantom Menace of the first Star Wars prequel, and it's really funny just because you're watching like George Lucas and a bunch of producers.
It's very fresh off. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
because they're still making the movie and like they're just like finishing up and like they got like the first edit done, and like you just see like a room full of producers like look like nervous, and then George Lucas with like his hands on his head just being like, I may have gone a bit far in some places.
May have gone a little far in
Yeah.
some places.
Oh, it's so good.
It's a great video.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's drama. I think it has good moments. I think it is dark.
I don't. Being dark doesn't make it good.
I think it does when you're a kid.
It does when you're a kid, but I'm an adult. Technically.
I think that it has emotionally realer moments than any other prequel, right? Maybe even
I guess.
than a lot of things in Star Wars. How often does
That's
Star Wars
fair.
hit you with feelings,
It doesn't.
emotions? Pretty much never.
Yeah.
Other than, the feeling of being excited that
Yeah.
it's Star Wars, which I get like every time I watch a movie.
Every time when I just watch any movie.
Yeah, any movie, I'm like,
Is this Star Wars?
Honestly, that's so real. Like, I'm watching a movie with like I'm watching.
What if this was in the same universe?
watching
as
the
Star
Squid and the
Wars?
Whale? I'm like, dude, I'm so excited for Star Wars. Like,
I think the dialogue in this movie is atrocious.
Yeah.
Like every single prequel has been.
Yeah, that's why whenever anybody dunks on the new Star Wars movies, I'm like, yeah, but the dialogue is written. You know what I mean?
Dialogue
like
is like thought out.
like it has like charm to it.
So
It's
there's
like,
a-
this is awful.
There's a line that I forgot to just start this discussion with, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. That is, this is where the fun begins.
Yeah.
Right before Anakin goes and murders a bunch of people,
No, he doesn't. That's not when he says
he
it.
blows up the ship. That's like
You're
the
talking-
attack on
you're
the
talking
ship.
in the opening
of
space
Revenge
battle?
of the Sith. Yeah,
It's a great sequence.
yeah. All right. So the action.
That
in
is a
this-
strong sequence.
Here's the thing: the action in this movie isn't bad. It's well shot. And
that
then,
space scene is great.
That's true. That's true. I'm giving it to you. Do you not hear me? You don't have to repeat yourself.
And when Act 1 or the first kind of action sequence ends with them crash landing the plane
yeah.
or the ship, that's a great little bookend to the action sequence
That's
is over.
true.
we're
It is a
returning to-
good way to wrap up the opening.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, 2 points from me.
You still have to sit through the lightsaber fights, which are a headache. I don't care how cool they look. They're not cool to me. They're silly. Like they're jumping like 10 feet over the air doing these crazy
Yeah,
twists.
it's
And
overdone.
it's like, how can you even see what
Yeah.
you're hitting or like know that you have to block something?
Yeah, no, lightsaber fights in the prequels are dumb.
They're so dumb. and
Lightsaber
they're not
fights
cool.
in the
only-
originals are also quite bad.
They're bad, but at least I'm watching them and going like, I'm not like questioning like why it is the way it is.
Lightsaber fight in The Force Awakens, by far the best one.
Yeah, the newer ones they hit the sweet spot between.
It's real good.
between realistic and
When they're snapping
fun.
off branches.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
really
I'll
good.
give it to you. All right.
Yeah. Now I'm just taking
Yeah.
wins for various things
Yeah.
in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, and Darth Vader, he's pretty cool. like,
No.
point for me.
There's also a scene in Revenge of the Sith that is like the worst thing ever. I was rewatching it this morning, so this is really fresh. Anakin, right after that big action opening
Yeah.
scene, goes to Padme, Natalie Portman, the love of his life, and he goes,
Great actress Natalie Portman.
the acting in this scene's terrible too. He's looking at her, he goes, "You're so beautiful."
She is, yeah.
And she goes, "Only because I'm so in love." And then he
Which
goes,
she is, yeah.
No. It's because I'm so in love.
And he is.
And then she goes, "Well, that's just because you're blinded by love." And then he goes, "That's not what I meant." And then she's just like, "Oh." And then the scene
Dude, but
ends.
that's real life, man. Like that's
Dude, it's like that's not how those conversations go. Nobody.
Dude, I've had enough balcony conversations to know that's not how these things go.
I know that my girl, she looks beautiful on that balcony, and that's why I'm in love with her. It's really obvious that nobody gave George Lucas any script notes
Yeah.
with this movie because
The dialogue crawls.
it's so bad. Like, and then the action, there's supposed to be quippy dialogue between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and it's just like the most. It's like
Ewan
stuff.
McGregor, another like
It's stuff you would expect to hear out of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's
Yeah.
these
Yeah, just a
awful
ridiculous-
quips, like just cheesy, terrible dialogue that's going for wit, but is just falling flat in its face.
I love thinking about all the great actors that are in the prequels. and how
Liam
bizarre.
Neeson, Christopher
Samuel L.
Lee,
Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Christopher Lee, okay. Christopher Lee, has one of the most meaningless characters
Yeah.
and like serves no purpose.
Dude, name one Sith Lord besides Palpatine that has a purpose in these movies.
None
Darth
of them.
Maul doesn't have a
None of them.
purpose. Count Dooku was there to be the Darth Maul of the second
They just
and third movie.
they were like, we need one cool.
They should have just
antagonist.
stuck with Darth Maul.
I mean, we're not gonna get into
Yeah,
like
we're not doing the prequels.
how to make the prequels
This is not
good
a Star
because I
Wars
could.
episode. Yeah, we could easily do
I could.
this.
I've thought,
I could bring in my notebook.
if
I
we
could
wanna
bring in
do
the
this, like, we
storyboards
could, but,
I've
like,
made.
I don't want to make it about that. But they kill him off in like the opening sequence. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. Do it. It's got Ian McDiarmid,
Who's that?
Palpatine, I think.
Oh, that guy. That guy's not a good actor. That guy is.
He's pretty not great in that movie.
He's the most hammy out of everybody.
He's very hammy
those-
in this movie too.
Oh my
Jeez.
god, so much. Because this is the one where he really has to shine as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And The scene where he's like in that makeup, every time he's in the makeup doing like the lightning hands,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
It's
Like
pretty,
I'm
he
laughing
looks
at it.
ridiculous.
Why did you choose this movie? Are you saying that you choose this because you thought, it's the best of a series of pretty bad movies? Or did you pick it because you're like, I actually like this movie?
I think I actually like this movie.
Okay, so the last third of it has a lot of emotional weight. The scene where they're fighting on the lava, it's
I think
extremely
it's
excessive.
I think it's way overdone.
It's so bloated.
It's insane.
It's
like they're
insane.
jumping on platform. Like
Here's
it's
the
like
thing, though.
set piece design to the
Oh,
point.
yeah, there's
of
like
a video
robots
game
on
level.
like a
I hate
river of flowing
that.
lava
Yeah,
that
it's
they're
too much.
balancing
It's
on.
so much.
It's so impractical. Does make sense, but here's the thing. That's where the movie gets me. That's like the strongest part of the movie, and that's where I'm the most
well, because that's the
invested.
moment that we knew was like that's
Coming. That's
the
true.
inevitable moment, right? Is when the good guy and his
You
best
were
friend
like
have
a
to fight.
brother to me,
Dude,
That's those are good lines.
Dude, when he's getting burnt up, like honestly, that's great.
And Ewan McGregor's just yelling at
Dude,
him.
the
just
way
like,
he delivers, I hate you. That's great. That's strong delivery.
It's the shining turd of the prequels. It's the one where it's like, hey, that smells the least bad out of all the turds that are the prequels.
I was just hoping I could be silent and have you like make more
Just build on my already going.
and just make more and more
Gag.
concessions,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'd be like, okay,
At
you know
the
what,
very
it's
end,
fine.
and be like, you want what? This movie's pretty good.
Yeah, I was hoping you would get there, and I'd be like, I've won.
You just
But
sit there
no,
not
you were just
saying
like,
a word.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
just to fill dead air, you keep
Yeah.
conceding points.
Also,
Do we have more to say about this?
one more thing?
Sure.
I don't think they put enough weight on the fact that he kills an entire classroom full of children.
I think that's too much. I think it's too far. Like we already saw him.
I think that is too far for him as a character to just do that.
I also think it's like, come on, like it was already a bad thing he did. Like we don't need to be beaten so over the
and
head.
then he
with
like
it.
he kills them all. And then there's the scene where Ewan McGregor says he killed the younglings.
That's awful.
And he seems like he's laughing when he says it. He goes,
Yeah.
he killed the younglings.
Yeah,
And it's like,
that's stupid.
what?
Chewbacca's in this, and I hate that.
Yeah, because Yoda's good with the Wookiee planet, so he goes and gets on Chewbacca's
Yeah.
back to go fight a bunch of soldiers.
There's the scene when Anakin kills all the like random Trade Federation people.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Okay, there's one sequence. It's a montage that I really like. It's when all the Jedi are dying.
Yeah, this is a great sequence. This is well done.
Okay, best part about the prequels? Soundtrack.
Soundtrack's good.
Easiest part to say is the best part because it's the only part that stays consistently good without the entire film series. You can't beat what's his face? John Williams. Wow. You can't beat
If you
Duel
know
of
like
Fates
one dude who does,
soundtracks,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Hans Zimmer or John Williams.
and if you're trying really hard,
Junkie XL.
I was gonna say Ennio Morricone.
James Horner.
Shout outs to people who drink craft beer.
You know, I only like IPAs because they're the hops.
Shout outs to what's the show before us?
No, we're not making fun of
I
other
really
shows.
like that as a bit.
It is funny. Because the show before us, because I'm assuming you didn't listen to that, is like film talk, but it's a
Yeah.
lot more serious. And they talk about like real movies, like classic movies.
They were like,
They're talking about the Sierra Leone.
They're
or-
like, next week we're talking about Treasure of the Sierra Madre
Yeah.
and Close Encounters of the Third Time. And I'm just over here like, man, they get to talk about good movies.
Yeah, he literally went. They get to talk about good movies.
Yeah, we're the ugly garbage
Yeah,
people
yeah.
on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the tracks from VT Film Essentials.
Yeah. All right.
right.
We want to go on to the next movie?
Yeah, I think I'm all set with talking about that.
Yeah,
The Revenge of the
I
Sith.
feel pretty fine about it. I think that I've really made my peace with it. Like I've seen it a lot. I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah,
There's a
I've
lot
also
of
seen it a
deeply
lot.
stupid things.
It's a prequel. It's filled with some really good ideas, but it has.
I would rather
some
watch
really
this
bad, but also some good execution.
I think it's an.
It
I'm
could-
not gonna go for hot takes.
It
so.
could be way better.
Oh, I don't know. Man.
That's a hot take.
It's rare that you say everything you want to say in a film. Actually, I feel like George Lucas did say everything he wanted to
Yeah,
say.
dude. He
That's
got
the problem.
full range.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was gonna go further with it. He was gonna like go into like, if he was gonna make another Star Wars trilogy, it was gonna be on a microscopic level of midichlorians like doing things.
Cool. Wait, what? You mean
I
it'd be
swear
about,
to God. Yeah.
like amoebas?
Yes.
No.
I swear to God. Look it up.
That's
he
madness.
talks about how
it
if
would
he
be
was
like
to
an
make,
animated movie.
like the prequels are basically animated as far as I'm concerned.
No, I mean,
it would be
like-
like the same style. I'm pretty sure.
But you said it was microscopic.
Maybe it would be all animated, dude. There was never further talks. It was just ideas he had
Okay.
and what he would make if he
Okay.
were to do that. If he had kept going, we would have seen a microscopic movie about the midichlorians. That would have just made people.
This
even
is
more
what
upset.
bothers me about
That's
all the
doubling
This is
down
what
right
bothers me
there.
about all the fanboy takes about the new Star Wars is they're like, man, like this is even if I had known that they would do this to my favorite, this is hashtag not my Luke.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, dude, they're like, the prequels are so bad. Like the fact that you're upset, like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
I get the argument if it were like, I like the prequels more than the new ones because at least the prequels had more ideas and more. I would get that. I would understand because I do like the new movies, but they are a bit of just more of the same. They are very samey.
Is that why everyone doesn't like this last one? Because it's too samey?
Well, you
Or
can
is it
you can make
because
a really good
it
case.
subverts their expectations?
Hey, buddy, you can make a really hard case for how this new Star Wars, The Last Jedi, is very similar to Empire Strikes Back.
I think it's similar.
There are a
and
lot of
yet
comparisons.
Very different. I think it's like if you took Empire
And flipped it on its
and
head.
put it and put it in a blender. You put it in a blender and you take out the pieces and you arrange them in a new way where
Dude,
we weren't going to talk
Dude.
about this. We went into the I'm so real though. I'm so real about this.
this is what the episode had to be about because we didn't know what to make it about.
Next movie. Let's talk about the next movie before we just start talking about Star Wars because we literally talked about how we can't make this about
Yeah,
Last
no.
Jedi takes.
Before this, we were like, we can't talk about the new Star Wars. I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I think we spent
It's not going to be interesting for
the
people.
longest amount of time on Star Wars.
That's good because I don't want to talk about one of the movies that I chose, so we can just skip that one now.
No, we are talking about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But first, we got 1990 Joe versus the Volcano.
This movie's good though.
Okay, but people don't like this movie.
It's good. It's very strange.
Although Roger
it's
Ebert
extremely
gave it a 3.5
strange.
out of 4. That's real high, and that was probably from the time because it's Roger Ebert.
He didn't come out with that review of it now.
What? Roger Ebert's been dead for 5 years.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, you were just being mean,
I guess.
sarcastic.
I don't really. I was just yeah.
Okay, so
I guess the joke was that I'm dumb and I don't know.
the basis for Joe versus the Volcano is Tom Hanks lives a real monotonous and depressing life. And then one day he finds out that his brain's going
at
to
like a
stop working.
surreal
Yeah.
power plant.
Yeah, no, he like everything is like angled a certain way.
And the dude
there's a
is
lot of
like, he has
shapes.
the same conversation every day. He's like,
Yeah.
he can get the job, but can he do the job?
Yeah, and like
I like that.
I
thought
love
that
how
that
they
was
have
very
like
cool.
the little kitchen in the office where it's like, you know, like a table and a microwave. And it's like the room gets like smaller.
I
in
really
that little
like
hallway.
the,
There's so much design in this movie.
It's very.
It's so well thought out.
Take this VT Film Classics. It's very expressionist.
Yeah, dude.
It's got like this this cabinet of Dr. Caligari vibe.
It
How
is-
about that one?
It's the modern day 8.5.
Who's watching good movies now?
Take that. Yeah, we should start a feud
Dutch
with the other
egg.
radio show.
yeah. We should.
We're the
What
low
if we
class.
cross a bridge and just set it on fire?
Yeah. But yeah, so he works this boring, depressing job, and then one day he finds out that he has a brain cloud and he has 6 months to live. And then he gets approached by like a rich businessman who's like,
Well, he first like begins to now feel alive,
now that he
liberated by
knows
that
he's gonna
knowledge.
die.
Yeah, he's like, well, now I need to live
he
life
needs
to
to
the
change
fullest.
his ways.
Yeah, he says some weird stuff about the woman who he works with.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I've been around you every day and like never let you know how much I liked you because you're a woman. Like, it's a little
know.
weird, right?
I thought it was more like a workplace thing.
What do you mean?
Like he's like, I don't want to disrespect the workplace, so I'll just
Yeah, I
be
know,
a good
but he's
guy.
like, I guess, but
I haven't seen this movie in a few months.
But oh yeah, no, he's just like He says some stuff about it. He's like, I've been working around a woman this whole time, and I've been like,
Yeah.
I can smell that she's a woman,
Okay,
and I
yeah,
know
that's
that
weird.
he's very. I mean, he's weird. Like that's
Yeah, no,
also
this
another thing.
movie
He's in.
is so
This movie's
bizarre.
weird. He's the weirdest character in it.
Well, did you even get to the island at the end?
Yeah, no, there are many weirder characters.
Did you get to the island?
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw them all drinking orange soda.
Yeah, this movie's insane.
Okay, so like,
I
yeah,
like it. It
a
felt-
rich businessman tells Tom Hanks, "There's an island of people who sacrifice a person into a volcano every 5 years or something."
Yeah,
And-
to appease the.
Yeah, to appease the gods.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks is like, well, I can be that person. And then the guy's like, I'll give you max amount of credit card for the rest of your life, which is
Yeah,
6 months.
yeah.
So he lives
because
lavishly.
the idea is that you're gonna die anyway, so you can do that because it's all about. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you like. Go do what you love, and then at the very end,
Well,
just
and it
jump
doesn't
into a
matter if it's
volcano.
appeasing the gods or not, right? Like,
Yeah.
just the appearance of it appeasing them is what matters.
Exactly. Like, not even the rich business guy really believes it. He
Yeah.
just know there's something on the island.
Yeah,
that he-
the mineral rights, which
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
sounded very weirdly like a video game quest where he's
Mm-hmm.
like, now if you can do this for me, the natives will give me their mineral rights,
Yeah.
and then I can
Yeah.
produce my capacitors. Like, that sounds like a fetch quest.
Also, another really bizarre part about this movie is that Meg Ryan's in the movie playing 3 different people.
Yeah.
And each one of them, like the first one is like the person he works with in the office, and she's like very much like working in an office movie.
No, she's
stereotype.
cooler than that.
She's cooler than that, but she still is that.
Yeah, sure. There are
And-
3 people who work in that office.
that's
by
true.
The way.
That's true.
But the massive horde of people
Oh,
that
yeah,
come in
that-
the
the
pretty
o-
good opening sequence.
I would say pretty great opening.
The
sequence.
opening credits
Yeah, the opening
with the-
credits. It's
yeah.
like. And it's like a song where it's like, I'm working 9 to 5.
It's like some,
stuff like
like-
that.
like T-Bone
bluesy,
Burnett, like, style.
Blue collar.
Yeah.
I'm a hardworking man, and I don't
Like, I
really
got
like
dirt in
Yeah.
my lungs and gunk
Soot
in
on
my
hair.
shoes.
Yeah.
I can't breathe well anymore.
But I'll put on my shoes and I'll work.
Yeah, no, it was good.
And you like, yeah, and you see like a bunch of people getting out like the same colored car with the same color suits going in to like the building. Also, did you notice that there's lightning bolts everywhere?
Well,
Like-
that's the pattern. That's the company logo.
Oh, dude, you didn't get to the end of the movie. Lightning plays a key element in this movie. Oh, wait, yes, you did. He's on the boat and he gets struck by lightning. And that's how he gets to the island, remember?
Yeah, I don't
There's
know
like
if
that
that's, like,
whole weird moon sequence.
And you're like, that's foreshadowing, is because
dude.
there's so much stuff.
there's
shaped like
lightning,
bolts.
but like it's everywhere in the movie. Like,
look,
you see
I
it.
watched your weird movie, and
and you liked it.
I watched your weird movie, and I liked it, but you're like, oh man, you didn't watch you didn't
watch the ending, and the ending is the it's the funniest part.
You dare be mad at me for watching your bizarre movie and agreeing with you that it's good when you're gonna dunk on my movies.
Ben, before this show, you said I gotta look up the ending to one of the movies I was supposed to watch for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, what movie? And you said, like, if you had said Nacho Libre or 9, I would have been like, okay. This is the one movie where like the last 2 minutes are like amazing.
It's good. It's a good movie.
So,
I liked it.
Spoilers, in the end, he jumps into that volcano.
Yeah.
And him and Meg Ryan actually jump in together.
That seems weird because she's not gonna die. Right?
No, because he's like, I don't want you to do this, and she's like, I'm doing it. You can't stop
okay.
me. And then they both jump in, and as soon as they jump in, they're immediately shot out of the volcano. Like the volcano like erupts them out, and it's like poorly done graphics, special effects. It's very funny to watch. And then they land in the water, and then they're just talking on this raft. And he's like, yeah, this rich business guy sent me here to do this. And then she was like, that's my dad. And then they like find out that brain cloud was never a real disease. He was never actually diseased, and that rich businessman paid that doctor to say those things to Tom Hanks and just to get the mineral rights thing. And at the very end, they're like, screw that guy. We didn't do the sacrifice. They're not doing the mineral rights. The end.
Why'd the volcano spit them out?
Because of the gods. I don't know. It just works.
You got out of that volcano. Didn't even have a scratch on you.
Yeah, exactly. He's the chosen one.
Dude,
yeah.
this is Unbreakable though.
Oh no.
Because the twist at the end.
Oh no. Okay, but how funny is it that the natives of an island only drink orange soda?
It was a weird thing that I'm
It's-
like, this is weird for the sake of weird.
It's the perfect amount of zany and stupid silliness.
I think
that
I thought the movie.
strive for.
I didn't know the movie was silly at first. I thought it was like this
Yeah.
surreal, sort of like Donnie Darko style thing.
Okay, yeah, it's not.
But
serious as
then,
that.
as soon as like he was like, I need to. He proposed like the volcano, and like
Yeah.
he goes and meets this weird man who's like, clothing is very important to me.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome. There's the guy who's like the luggage guy who's also eccentric and weird, and like I didn't know that it was goofy, I guess.
Okay.
But
Yeah, once you know
I was
it's
fine
goofy,
with it.
Yeah. Another weird part about this movie
Is that Tom Hanks has maybe the worst hair I've ever seen.
That's just early Tom Hanks hair. You can't.
Oof.
Hey, Tom Hanks has gone through a lot of hairstyles, and I think that we cannot say that this is the worst one because Da Vinci Code did happen.
I should have chosen the Da Vinci Code.
No, you shouldn't have. You don't like that movie. I've never seen that movie.
I think I liked Angels and Demons fine.
That's the second one.
Yeah, well, it's the prequel. It comes before. The
Oh,
Da
does it
Vinci
really?
Code, yeah.
What
Well,
about
it's
Inferno.
I don't care. They're not good books. I liked
That's
Angels
what
and
I've
Demons
heard.
when I read it, but it's because I thought I was like reading like above my reading level or whatever.
How old
at
were
the
you when
time.
you read that?
I was in like
Middle school.
6th grade.
So
Or
I'm pretty sure
something.
that's when the movie came out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
It had sex in it. I remember
Joe
that.
vs. the Volcano is produced by Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy.
It's good, but it's also insane. Like I don't know that I would recommend this to a lot of people because it's real. It's very strange.
Yeah, I talked to a teacher about this movie, and I was like, yeah, and I watched Joe vs. the Volcano, and they immediately, like, their eyebrows got furrowed, and they were like, what? That movie?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that movie in theaters, thought it was the dumbest thing, and never thought about it again.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I expected you to
Was
say
this the
just now.
first movie you thought that you wanted to talk about?
Yes.
Because I feel like this is like the one that's the only that makes a good case for this show concept.
Yeah. Well, nah.
I think Hollow Man.
My other movie, I would say, makes a great case.
Do we
for
need to
this.
start moving through these a little faster?
We got half an hour left of
Oh,
our
okay,
show.
we're good.
Joe vs. the Volcano, I'd recommend it to just about anybody. I think it's no, because here's the thing. I think even if you don't like silly or goofy things, then I guess don't watch this movie because you will just be annoyed.
Yo.
But if you can watch a movie and just like not take things seriously and enjoy it,
I had an idea for an episode
this movie couldn't get made today because this movie is too weird and too out there to like. I don't even know how it got made in 1990, but it did.
If we bring people on to talk about movies that are near and dear to their heart, for example, if we bring Joe on to talk about Strange Wilderness, if we bring Joe on to talk about Strange Wilderness, can we bring Anya on to
talk about Mystery Men?
Mystery Men is one of them, but also it's a bunch of
Time Bandits.
Yes. I want to do a Time Bandits episode because that movie is insane.
That movie couldn't get made today either.
That movie is on the level of this in terms of bonkers, maybe weirder. Actually,
I would say it's a lot
weirder because you have like faces made of light.
Yeah,
and like
time travel and pirates.
I would love to do a Time Bandits episode.
I don't know if we can do a whole episode on Time Bandits.
I think
but
we could. There's so
okay.
much.
Ben initially picked King Kong for his list of movies before he realized
Totally
that
defensible.
the Peter Jackson King Kong.
Totally defensible.
Nobody thinks it's a bad, or people probably think it's a bad movie, but nobody, like, reception-wise, it's well reviewed.
It is
well liked.
yeah.
Everybody likes
It's a
the
good
movie, so we
movie.
decided to eliminate it. As I was watching it, I'm like, could do an entire episode about this. It is over.
Just being good.
Just like talking about the movie. It's over 3 hours long, and like each third of the movie is like a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Just an
Do you
idea.
think Peter Jackson's new thing is going to be any good?
The thing he's producing, the Mortal Engines.
Yeah, it looks awful.
It looks awful. I think it's gonna be awful. He's not directing it.
I thought he was directing it.
I don't think so. Is he?
I think he is.
I thought he just produced it, or he's just producing it.
It's like
I'm
it's,
looking it up.
There's
Those-
going to be some
No, yeah.
cities. They're going to be rolling around.
He's just producing it. Some guy named
Steampunk
Christian
young adult
Rivers.
novel.
Yeah, like where is this movie? It's got a kind of cool concept.
No,
but
it doesn't.
Like, moving cities on car cities.
It's a thin
dude.
premise, mate.
It's a thin. Stop that. It's a thin premise. But you want to what? I would love
Peter
to see.
Jackson.
It's cool to see.
I was doing Australian, but he's actually a Kiwi.
No. Okay.
That's why all the orcs are Kiwi.
Let's talk about the other movie that you picked. The one where
not.
when I read it, I was like, Oh, I've heard about this movie. I've heard it's really bad. I could see Ben liking it, I guess, because I knew it was
That's a roast.
because I knew it was steampunk and it was superhero stuff.
It was, yeah.
And then I watched it and I was like, "Good God!"
I remember this movie being badass.
Yeah, you did because you were 6.
So is that how old I would have been?
Because it's July 2003 is when
2003?
it came out.
So 2003, it also opened number 2 in the box office behind, by far, like one of the best movies of. It's probably got to be the best movie of 2003. The best like
I don't know.
blockbuster of 2003.
Blockbuster, sure. Yeah, Pirates
Yeah,
of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the
1.
Caribbean
Yeah. Black
1.
Pearl, baby.
Like a masterpiece.
Yeah, the movie is great.
Yeah.
I think we could do an entire episode about the Pirates of the Caribbean series.
I think my take is
That'd
that
be fun.
1 is a masterpiece. 1 is, however good people say it is, 1 is better than that.
Yeah. One
All
is-
other ones are not good. Some people say 2 is actually good, and I say no, that's a weak stance to take. Only 1 is good, but 1 is great.
Yeah, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie it's flawless. It's not like a movie where I'd be like, yeah, I put it up there with like, I don't know, like great movies, but like it's a movie where if I watch it, I have too much fun to the point where I'm like, why am I having this much fun? This is a Pirates movie.
This is a movie based on a ride.
It's a movie based on a Disney ride. Like, why is it this good? And there's nothing wrong with it. You
I was
watch it,
talking-
and it's like there's not one moment where I'm like, that shouldn't have been in the movie. Maybe it's just because I'm so nostalgic about it.
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
movie
But
was a
bottom line,
childhood
that's
staple.
what League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is up against.
That's what it is to you.
It's not that to me.
Okay, cool.
I remembered this movie as I'm like, I think it was cool. It had
Ooh.
Nazis in it. It had
Interesting. It's described as diesel punk. Which
It is
not
diesel punk.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
What is that? Just futuristic steampunk?
No,
'Cause that's what steampunk is.
It's a little grimier. It's like
That's what steampunk is.
No, steampunk is a lot of like top hats and like monocles and like the
There's a Zephyr.
Yeah,
But there are Zephyrs in this movie.
dirigibles. There are also dirigibles in this movie.
Yeah.
Diesel is
There are also monocles.
is like I don't know, like boxier and more like the tank that they're driving in the beginning.
Okay.
Where it's like not pretty or aesthetically pleasing.
If I had to describe this movie to somebody, I would say steampunk, and I wouldn't say diesel punk because that's just too
If somebody
specific.
said diesel punk, I would be like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not
Like
a,
we're not all graphic design majors.
Yeah. All right. Either way, let's talk about the movie. I got some notes here. I said I like the Invisible Guy. I didn't really like
Yeah,
him.
second movie I chose involving an invisible person.
Yeah, right. Based off of H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man. Wow. We
Yeah,
had
so the
two
premise is it's
adaptations.
basically the Avengers or the X-Men, but instead of superheroes, they're like turn of the century
Dr.
literary
Jekyll.
figures.
It's like the Universal Monsters kind of, where it's like we got somebody who Dracula bit. We got Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Well,
Hyde.
but
we
they're
got
all-
the
they're all,
Invisible
like,
Man,
classic
Tom
literary-
Sawyer. Yeah, Tom Sawyer's.
They're all literary turn of the century literary figures.
Oh, Captain Nemo from 2000
yeah,
Leagues.
exactly.
And he's a superhero. Dorian Gray, stuff like that. Yeah,
and they're the Avengers. They have to stop, a world war.
yeah. They
It's
gotta
World War
stop.
One, but it's not because the timeline doesn't add up. But like,
I hate
it's
it.
based on an Alan Moore novel. Alan Moore,
I don't even know who that is.
he wrote Watchmen.
Oh, now I know who that is.
He wrote
The Killing Joke.
he wrote The Killing Joke. He wrote From Hell, which is about Jack the Ripper. He
Okay.
wrote The Swamp Thing. He did a run on Swamp Thing,
Okay.
which is it's known for being like very like
Yeah.
literary and poetic. He's like he's a genius, but he's like so genius that I don't know if he's actually dumb.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like I don't know if he's insane or just like 100 times smarter than me.
So I think I dislike this movie for a few reasons. I'm not a big fan of Victorian era things. If you place a Victorian era movie in front of me, fat chance I'm gonna like that. It has to have something compelling.
I don't think that this is like a period piece though.
It is 1899, dude.
I think it's just aesthetically. I think
Aesthetically,
it
it
just
is
likes the
that.
aesthetics.
I don't like the aesthetic. There's something about
I
the
think the
way
aesthetic
people
of-
act and talk of like with Victorian
Sure.
manner. I'm like, you're too snobby. This is annoying, and it's all taking itself so seriously.
The only one who doesn't talk like that is our American hero,
That's true. Sean
Special
Connery.
Agent Tom Sawyer.
Wait, what? Sean
Because
Connery.
he's American.
Okay.
He doesn't talk
You're
all.
right.
He doesn't talk all fancy.
That's
he's
true.
Like, he does a few things
I
where he
hated
like
that.
like he's like American style.
Yeah, I'm the American on the team. Ugh, there are so many quips.
Yeah,
and
there's
so
a lot
many,
of quips. It's a quip heavy movie.
and it doesn't need them.
It's dense with
so
quips.
bad. There's one part where like Dr. Jekyll. Okay, so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are in this movie. Dr. Jekyll's like normal looking
I
dude,
find him to be
the actor
a
guy.
compelling element of this film.
And then the Hyde is just like this giant.
It's just a big.
He's the
man.
Hulk. It's the Hulk, but with regular skin color.
It's the
With,
Hulk,
like,
but
with
if the
still
Hulk was
white.
just a guy that hulked up.
Yeah, exactly. Like he didn't turn green. He just stayed the white guy. Like it's. It looks
He just
so
was
bad.
Ed Norton, but just,
It's so bad. Oh, and there's like a scene where he's Hyde, and somebody's like, "Oh no, this is dangerous," and he goes, "Danger, huh, more like sport." And it's like, oh, this guy isn't afraid of things. He has fun with
I
violence.
thought it was cool that Hyde was not dumb.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was I was into that. He was verbose. He didn't do the like me angry and forget
That's true.
transitional words.
That's true. He didn't do that.
he was like smart. He
spoke-
was like kind of scary.
He spoke
I
the
thought.
exact same way, just with like a
He's
grumpier
like
voice.
no, he's like creepier though because he's like more malevolent.
Oh yeah, he goes ha 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 a lot.
Yeah, no, I like him.
I didn't like how. I thought it's not that I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid, and I laughed at it every time. Dr. Jekyll's reflection would appear, it'd be Mr. Hyde talking to him,
I thought that was
like
cool.
trying to tempt him. I'm like I get the idea, but it was silly, and like half the time it'd be like
so-
reflected on something that made him look even stupider.
So this movie is awful. Like I watched it today,
oh wow,
and it's really bad.
I watched it on Tuesday, and I forget most of what
this
happens.
was a late addition to the roster, and I'm like, oh, I remember liking that, and it sucks. Like it's
Yeah.
really bad. I am gonna stand by it, I guess, because
Really?
well, no,
This
for
is
the
where-
for the dynamic of the
for the show.
for the show.
All right.
I'm gonna point out, and also when I was watching it, I was taking notes as if it was something I was gonna defend, and then I realized that was sort of a fruitless.
Yeah, it's a
It was not
not
gonna
a
happen.
well thought out effort.
I like Sean Connery's character.
Do you like Sean Connery's character, or do you just like Sean Connery?
I like his character.
Okay.
I like his character because so he's Alan Quatermain, who's apparent. It's a big deal in England. I didn't
don't
know
know
who
who
this
that
was,
is.
and I think most Americans probably don't.
No
or,
idea.
or didn't. He is like a Davy Crockett type character. He is to Africa and the sort of British colonial empire in Africa what Davy Crockett is to sort of the American
Okay.
frontier.
Gotcha. Oh, really?
Where he has a lot of sort of like like dime novels and like
That's what he's doing, leading the Extraordinary Gentleman.
I don't know.
I didn't like how
he's sort
half
of
of
the
the
hero.
Extraordinary
He has all
Gentleman-
these fantastical stories about the things he discovered and like did
Okay.
on the Dark Continent, and they're
Okay.
all like very racist because
Yeah.
it's they were like the exoticism of Africa,
Yeah, I get it.
and it's like the story of that one time he shot a Zulu person.
All right, yeah. I didn't get it how half the members of this Extraordinary Gentleman team aren't extraordinary.
Also, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is what people on Reddit refer to Reddit as.
Really?
No,
Oh.
I just that was a joke I thought
was a
of,
good
and I'm
one.
like, that one's pretty good,
That
but
was pretty good.
yeah.
No, like, so now that you just said that, that just confirms that Sean Connery has like nothing about him other than he's the leading man of this group. I guess the vampire lady is a vampire. Mm-hmm. She's got some going on.
You got that? Yeah.
Dr.
wrong.
Dr. Jekyll has the Mr. Hyde
Yeah,
side.
their
which
skills
is,
aren't great. Is that what you're saying? Like their
No,
skills
no,
aren't...
I'm saying these are the ones with skills. And then
Oh.
there's the Invisible Man who turns invisible. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I guess
Nemo is like Iron Man.
So here's the thing.
He has resources.
Nemo should.
He's
be...
the coolest one.
No, he's not.
He's absolutely cool. He is like an Ottoman dude.
I hate how he was like basically their servant though. Like
He
there's the scene
is so
where
cool.
they're shooting clay pigeons or whatever.
That
they're
wasn't
shooting.
him.
He wasn't the one launching them.
No, that's a different Turkish guy.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
He just has a whole like army on his ship. Like that's a thing.
He had like the same clothes and beard and everything. I guess I just couldn't see him. I guess I'm the worst.
Okay, that's 3 points for me.
Oh man, that's where the fun ended. Yeah, this movie was so bad.
It's very bad.
I watched it with my roommates, and they were all like, "Why do we have to keep doing?" Like, okay, so the past couple weeks, they've been like,
Why have
so
they
is
been
this a
watching these
show
with you?
Because they're in the living room. Like I turn on the TV, so they just sit there and keep going. Like if my roommates were like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch this movie."
Did you like the part where Dorian Gray got shot up with a machine gun, and then he pulled his shirt gets pulled down, and he's covered in bullet holes, but the CG is bad enough that there's no definition on his stomach, and it looks like the stomach of like a 6-year-old.
Oh my
like,
God,
it
yeah.
looks like a young child because it's like
yeah.
there's no
hair,
detail
no
on it or
nothing,
anything.
no shadows.
And the guy's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm complicated." And then he stabs the guy, and you're supposed to be like, "That guy is sexy and scary."
I hated him
and
throughout the entire movie.
yeah,
That guy is
awesome.
And then when it's like, "Oh, I'm actually the bad guy."
Yeah, of course you
it's
are.
like, ugh, because
You have a goatee.
They set it up like, "Oh, he's the bad guy."
Yeah,
and then they're like,
yeah.
"Nope, he's a good guy." And
I
then it's
thought
like,
it was gonna be
nope, he's a bad guy.
I didn't remember the plot points of this movie, but I thought it was gonna be, you know, you're supposed to get a bad vibe from him. You're supposed to not like him, but it's gonna be like, see, it wasn't him. Like
But then
your
it
prejudices
was.
were foiled. No, it's just like,
Nope,
you
it
didn't
was
like
him.
that guy. Yeah, you shouldn't. He's bad.
The thing is, it's like at first you don't like him, and then they're like, "No, he's an okay guy."
This movie's really bad. Invisible Man is
Wait, can we talk?
has
about
his moments, but also wears a leather duster,
He wears leather. Like,
which is insane because the year is
I-
18 what?
yeah, no, 1899.
And he's wearing like a Matrix
Yeah,
jacket.
no, it's stupid. The one thing I liked about, I think why I wrote down, I like the Invisible Guy, is just for the fact that he put paint on himself.
Yeah, the visuals of him were
And-
not half bad.
And I was like, oh, that's a really clever way to like, there's an invisible guy, just paint him white, and then you just have an actor painted white, and they,
Yep.
that's a good excuse.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah,
that
and
was
that's,
my
I mean,
favorite
that's
part
got to
of
be the
movie.
strength of the original source material because that's just like a good idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's they didn't come up.
I
with
thought
that
Nemo
one.
was awesome.
Yeah, you're on your own
I
with
think
that
he's
one,
cool
buddy.
as all
Can we talk
get
about
out.
the ending scene in the movie when there's the guy just banging on the grave
The-
or
the
whatever?
witch doctor?
Yeah, the witch doctor with
Yeah.
the grave, and then the
the
lightning.
witch doctor?
And it's like,
There's a witch doctor in Africa. Yo, that's not half bad.
shut up.
That's not a bad Connery.
We're not doing
There's,
impressions.
there's a witch doctor.
All right.
When we were listening to, because we put up our last episode on,
On SoundCloud, check it out.
yeah, SoundCloud. And I heard my Billy D was regrettable.
I hope you get back on SoundCloud after this, and you're just like, oh man, that Sean Connery
No,
was.
this Sean Connery.
So
Connery has its.
we got like
Has
20
its
minutes left.
merits.
Anything you want to talk about for this?
No, I want to get
lead?
into the last movie
All right, so this last movie is this was the thing I immediately thought of.
because I have a lot to say.
It
about this
honestly probably propelled this conversation
did.
more than anything. We touched on it last week. It's Nacho Libre. It's Jack Black's crowning achievement. It is
Insane
Jared
statement.
Hess's crowning achievement.
one. Don't know who that is.
That is the director. He directed Napoleon Dynamite as well. Did you not know this?
That makes so much sense.
There it is. Yeah. It's from the guy who made Napoleon Dynamite.
So I had a revelation when watching this.
yeah.
And it was it takes many of my gripes with the movie and makes it, oh, those were on purpose. So I may not like it, but a lot of the things I didn't like were intentional.
That can still make it so you don't like it.
Yeah, but it wasn't just stupid. These were decisions that were made.
Yeah, yeah.
And it literally, I was like, oh, so this is like a Napoleon Dynamite, where like it's just awkward and
Yeah.
off-putting.
Yeah.
The word that I wrote was grotesque.
Oof. Yeah. Oh.
It does have like a
Ignacio.
grotesque vibe because like
Yeah, no,
everyone's,
it is
everyone's
grimy.
hyper ugly.
Well, yeah.
That's for starters.
They're all orphans.
Yeah,
And
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
no, but everybody.
Well, yeah, they're
is-
all supposed to be like in poverty.
Yeah.
And like covered in dirt.
Everybody's ugly. There's a lot of like gross like food.
Oh yeah, like even the corn that they love is just like covered in like white
It's
glop and
it's
like this
gross
red
and really
flakes.
unappetizing.
Yeah.
Like and I remembered this.
Well, except
I
for the
remember-
salad that
I
he
remembered
makes.
the movie as being weirdly gross.
Yeah.
But no, this is it is very much like the Napoleon Dynamite scene when they're at the farm.
with the I know you're talking about the
Yeah,
milk or
exactly
the eggs.
that vibe
Yeah.
of like you're like this is just so
Yeah, they have
off.
like the sandwiches.
And
they're
but
just-
yeah, no, it really is grotesque. Everybody's like filthy and weird looking, and
Yeah.
there's like all the scenes of them training are just like
they're doing it in dirt. Like his partner's a strip homeless guy with horrible teeth.
who steals his thing of like of
Chips for the orphans.
and when they're fighting in the street initially he just like leaps on him they're fighting and then the chips are falling all over
Yeah.
like their sweaty bodies and I'm like this is again it's like expressionist, it's like interwar German
Yeah,
art.
One thing that I really love about this movie is the fact that throughout the entire movie, he's like his wrestling partner, and it's like really up until the end when you just realize like these guys aren't friends. Like they don't like each other.
Oh, it's weird.
Because like the whole time, like they're being mean to each other, but you're just like it's a movie, so you're under the assumption that like
I just
they're
have a hard
friends.
time with how much the character of Steven is or is not played for laughs. Like I have a hard time knowing when I'm supposed to laugh at him.
I know exactly when I'm supposed to laugh at him because this movie is hilarious.
I don't know. It feels
All right.
weird. I
Here's
don't
the
like the
thing.
way it makes me feel.
This movie is a movie that I watched when I was a kid.
Also, why is
and
this?
I love
Sorry,
it.
go ahead.
I have always loved this movie, even upon rewatching it. I do recognize though, it is not as good as it can be. I really wish that this wasn't for kids.
That was the weirdest thing.
It's the thing where I'm like, there's a lot of themes and a lot of ideas in this movie, and just like a lot of like bits of dialogue. It's like the plot alone is he falls in love with a nun, and then he tries to wrestle and get money to impress her to like feed the orphans, and it's like that's a weird premise to have for like a kid to watch, and then to end like the whole like.
So
them-
I have a
them mean to
theory.
each other. What?
I have a theory. Because the weirdest thing to me was
It's a Nickelodeon movie.
Exactly.
That's
That's when
the-
it started,
it's
and
so
it's like
bizarre.
Nickelodeon Studios, and I was like,
It's the
why?
only good movie Nickelodeon has ever made.
What? Who did they think this is for? But and here's my theory. Okay. People. What age were we when this came out? Middle school, probably earlier, right?
We were 9
okay.
or 10.
Okay.
I was not.
Would you say
I
that
was
we
8.
loved
8 or
Jack
9.
Black?
Yeah,
Because obviously,
School of Rock.
School of Rock is great. School of Rock was for people our age.
What are the Jack Black movies? Jack Black was just the best in the
He
early
was
2000s.
a zany dude, and
He
I
was
like
what
him.
was in.
I still like him.
I still love Jack Black.
So
get me in
they
that.
have a point for that. They have a point for it'd be good to make a Jack Black movie.
Yeah,
I
And
think
he is-
people our age also liked Napoleon Dynamite,
Yeah,
but for different reasons than the industry side of things understood. Because we like Napoleon Dynamite because of references, right? When you're young, like it's like we were talking about SNL kids and Monty Python kids. Like you like Napoleon,
yeah.
give me some of your tots. Vote for Pedro.
Tots, vote for Pedro.
There are
Eat
things,
this, you fat lard.
things are funny
Yeah.
when you repeat them.
That's
right?
true.
So that's why we liked it. But so they're like, these kids love Napoleon Dynamite. Let's get the Napoleon Dynamite guy to make like another, admittedly, like strange,
It's
surrealist,
written by-
uncomfortable movie.
It's written by Jared Hess is the director. He also wrote it with Jerusha Hess, which I'm assuming is somehow related to him, and Mike White, which is just like one other guy. So it definitely was like writer director vision.
But so I bet it's like these kids love Jack Black. They love Napoleon Dynamite. Let's get the Napoleon Dynamite guy. So of course they create something like weird and uncomfortable and like strange. And so when as kids we go into that movie theater, I remember being super disappointed and super weirded out.
Oh man, I rented this movie off Netflix once it was on DVD because like I didn't get to go see it in theaters. I laughed hysterically throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, weird.
That is bizarre that we were both like the same age and we just.
I
don't
remember
like the-
being like repulsed by it.
It was very different than what
It's
I was
like
expecting.
gross.
I thought it was gonna be more like stupid humor.
It's gross, but not like fart jokes gross.
no, it's like grind. Well, there are fart jokes and they're
but like
awful.
he's like scooping a bunch of lard into
He's
like
just
a pot of
scooping
beans,
like this,
and you're like, this
gross.
is, ugh,
Yeah, there's like
why?
I have a theory. I don't know how true this is. I didn't look this up, but I have a
It's
theory
grimy.
that this movie wasn't intended to be a kids movie.
I doubt
at
it
first
was,
development,
yeah.
because even if like you watch the movie as a whole and then like you take into account like things that they did like after they were done filming, it's like there are like 3 or 4 moments where the same sound effect of a fart is like just like
You
plays.
think they just threw that in there?
100%. They just threw
They
that
were
in
in
there.
post. They were like, we need three farts.
We need something that kids will laugh at more.
Yeah.
Like fart jokes. Because literally, when Steven, the homeless guy, is about to jump on Nacho,
Who looks exactly like Mick Jagger.
yeah, right. Yeah, looks like a lot like Mick Jagger. But yeah, right before he jumps, he farts, and you hear that sound effect, and then that causes Jack Black to turn around and be like, "What made that noise?" But like, you could just had a stick break to make that, like, to do that.
God,
but instead, they
this
made a
movie
fart
is
noise.
so
Also,
weird.
there's the scene where Jack Black eats the eagle yolk on top of the cliff because
Yeah.
what's his face told him to do it, and he's like about to dive off, and right as he like just sort of like falls off, it goes, "Brah," and it's like that totally like wasn't supposed to be
Gotcha.
in there. There's several moments where there's like a bad fart sound effect, and it like kind of ruins the scene. It just like takes you right out of the movie.
Yeah, so my takeaways from this were it reinforced my impression of it when I watched it, which is that it was weirdly gross.
It's disgusting.
But not like gross, like...
Not like there's a lot of blood. Not like there's poop and pee.
Yeah, it's just...
It's like
It's just...
it's grimy.
off.
It's just grimy.
Yeah.
That's the perfect word.
Very much in that Napoleon Dynamite way, where
Did
like...
you laugh at all while watching it? What about the scene where he has to sneak into the party and he has to play the bass, and then the guy goes, "This one, you're doing this one." He's like, "What? I'm singing a song now?" And then he's like, "We're all at the party," and he's like, "And Ignacio, he is at the party," and like all that. You didn't think that was funny?
No. I
thought
I
it
remember
stopped being
one line
funny
I laughed
when Jack
at, but
Black
it was
did the-
stupid. Like,
What?
it didn't... I don't know if we can say it.
Why not? Is it inappropriate?
It has a word that
This
that
movie's rated PG.
I know, but
Is it one of the 7 words?
do you have our list up there?
No, but I can't. I'm not telling you the list. We're on air.
Yeah, almost gotcha.
Do you know who did? Oh, also, Nacho Libre.
It's just like there's this scene when he's like
what?
It's so stupid that this is what I laughed at, but much like Night at the Roxbury, like, you know, you never know. When he's talking, he's like, all my life I wanted to meet Ramses, but then when I finally do, I find that he is a real douche.
Yeah.
And I like laughed at that really hard.
No, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, and like that line is like not a kids movie line. Like,
Yeah.
Like there's like creepy lines about him towards the nun.
Yeah, it's
That,
weird.
like,
It's a
don't-
strange movie, and it's strange that it's a Nickelodeon. Like
It's so
like
bizarre
what a
that
disconnect
Nickel-
between target audience and like so like no
Right?
kid is
Yeah.
like, you know what I want.
I want-
a movie about a
luchador.
luchador who works at a Mexican like convent
Orphanage.
like you know,
That's I love the plot and just like progression wise of this
and
movie.
yeah, and it's like very like it's weirdly like authentically Mexican. Like it's like
Right?
all it's
The
like not whitewashed.
soundtrack.
It's like people are like actually like human beings.
Yeah.
It's very different.
I think this movie is great on. It's like when I watched it the other day, I didn't laugh very much. I laughed at like a few things. I think some of the things I laughed at was like nostalgia, me being like, "Oh, I love this part." Like, you know, when like the little feral wrestlers are what they're up against.
It's
like,
strange.
It's so strange. But I also just like I love. This never happens, but I love the morals of this movie.
Ooh.
Is that weird to say?
I don't know.
Because he's like, it's about like him, and at first he's like, I just want to impress this nun by making money for these orphans.
Sure.
And at first that's what he's doing, and then he gets like self-absorbed with it, and he's like, I have money to now buy myself nice things. And then he, at the very end, he like realizes he's like, I gotta do it for the orphans.
It's like Boogie Nights.
No. This movie is genuinely good, and when I watched it, I was enjoying it on just a movie level. Not even like, I'm laughing at this. It can be whatever as long as I'm laughing. It is, I enjoyed the shots. I enjoyed the editing. I enjoyed the soundtrack so much. I might be nostalgic, but
So-
whenever I am the Real Religious Man.
That one's pretty good.
That song is fantastic. They play it like 4 times throughout that
Yeah,
movie,
that's
and it
pretty
is
good.
great every
Yeah.
time.
And the soundtrack, I wonder. I mean, I gotta imagine.
Do you want to know who the
it's-
soundtrack's by? I'm looking at it right now.
What?
And there are 2 names. One's expected, the other one not really. It's by Danny Elfman and Beck.
Of course.
Like,
No, but
what?
I'm like, you think? I wonder how much stuff is picked by Hess, because he similarly in Napoleon Dynamite.
The soundtrack the I Am has to be like that. Had to have been like something he had envisioned the whole time.
He wrote in these songs that are one, deep cuts.
Yes.
Like deep cuts. Two, like good and like emotional
and
like
having to do at least tonally with the movie.
Tonally, but not
like with the
but
scene.
not content wise, but like thematically.
Yes.
Like yeah.
Like promoting the scene.
Like I wish that. Yeah, I almost wish that. I just wish that. And maybe this is what you were saying about Nickelodeon. I wish that this skewed more Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I agree.
Then
I wish there was less like
jokes,
fart, noisy jokes.
I almost wish there was less jokes. Period, because I honestly wasn't laughing a lot of the jokes. But I would dig it more if it was played straight, despite being an absurd premise. I would find that funny.
Yeah, there's like when I talked about the singing scene with Jack Black. It goes on way too long because then right after that they let Jack Black do a Jack Black thing and he starts going,
and he's like,
I'm playing a trumpet with my mouth and it's like, haha, Jack Black, you did this in every movie up until now. Like, those are the things where I'm like, all right, I wish that was excused, but you can't get me to say I don't like this movie or to even say that it's a bad movie.
I think I might have some issues, and we're running out of time, but
we got 6 minutes. Make your case.
But this movie kind of broke my heart when I saw it.
Do you still dislike this movie as much as you did whenever I would talk about it? That's good to hear. That's a point. I got my point.
Yeah, but I got that one because you said that racist thing.
Oh, no.
I don't remember what it was, but no,
I hate how this show turns
just entrapment.
Yeah, it's just like I say something and then you twist it. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like it's a much more intentionally created thing than before.
It doesn't feel like it was just thrown together.
Yeah,
it feels like thought out.
I still am weirded out by it.
It's so weird.
But
it's so weird.
I love every time I watch Napoleon Dynamite now, I'm like, I like this on a way different level than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was just funny when you were a kid.
But it kind of broke my heart because I love Jack Black so much. And when I saw this is not a movie that a kid will, I would say, almost ever like.
Right? Not the Cal Kane kids.
Yeah, not
my
you
siblings
weirdos.
love this movie.
You and your MacGruber family.
Yeah, and we also loved MacGruber and Hot Rod.
But
Hot Rod was my initial choice to have here. But everybody now likes Hot Rod. When it came out, critics called it stupid and it didn't make money. But now that people have seen it, everybody loved it. Yeah, they're not wrong. It's stupid. But that movie is like Nacho Libre.
But I came in and I'm like, oh, a Jack Black movie. I loved School of Rock, and like it was a very big movie in my life.
Yeah.
And like I saw that, and like this is not at all like that. It's like such a different thing, and it's like so weird and like conceptual almost, which is so upsetting for me to say.
It's a heady movie.
Yeah, it's a cerebral piece.
Yeah.
It's so much less accessible. It is less accessible though.
That's true.
But it was marketed as just, so I remember it breaking my heart and me being like, because Jack Black was like, my favorite.
Yeah, no. Jack Black has always been a favorite, and when I was a kid he was like the crowning achievement of comedy. Ben Stiller and Will Ferrell when I was a kid were like top tier comedy movies.
I am still rooting for him hard.
He's in a movie that's coming out today.
The Clock with the Wall and its clocks.
Yeah, The Clock with the Clock and its clocks.
The Girl with the Clock Tattoo.
Oh man. Yeah, that movie.
What if Jack Black was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Actually,
what if Jack Black with director Eli Roth was did the Dragon Tattoo
from the twisted mind of Eli Roth?
Oh man, I would hate that.
Did you see The Green Inferno?
Yeah, I saw that.
Where
in
it's just
theaters.
like these stupid teenage social justice kids.
God, I hated that movie.
Here's what you get for humanitarian work. Yeah, he's so like weirdly political. All of his stuff is being so afraid of the outside world.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie where like the two ladies come to his house?
Knock Knock.
Is that
the Keanu Reeves movie where
the ladies come to the house and they like
him.
seduce him? Because again, everything Eli Roth sees, he's just like, everyone has it in for good Western man.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
Hostel is just like, don't leave the confines of your nation.
I never saw Hostel because it looked bad. Like, that's the theme of the movie.
Like, it just seems gross.
Yeah, so
next week we're talking about
something
good. Steve Zahn.
Hopefully. Oh, God. Does he have any good movies?
No.
Okay. That's cool.
Unless we find out about one. What if he was into like Schindler's
Dude,
List?
I remember at the end of last
The
week, on like Friday night after last week, I was like, I'm gonna watch Sahara, and I started watching, and I was like, dude, I hate this.
It's
This
so
is-
funny.
It's
I would
it's
like
not.
to do.
It's so boring.
Yeah, no. It's
awful.
it's so like forgettable. It's such an also ran.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind doing a Matthew McConaughey movies that were bad.
like Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
Fool's Gold, Failure to Launch.
I've seen Failure to Launch, and I liked that movie when I saw it on TBS when I was a kid, and I haven't seen it since.
The other concepts I thought of were chick flicks with Greek plots in them.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Mamma Mia, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Eat, Pray, Love, I think.
I haven't seen that.
But that's
one.
already like 3 movies.
don't know if I
They're
wanna-
all chick flicks with Greek story.
I don't like the way you're talking about these movies as chick flicks.
Oh, I mean that they're flicks that only women can enjoy.
Okay, on that note, I'm Dan, and that was Ben. We are gonna go now because we're running out of some time.
Yeah, we're running out of time.